always means input. And in this problem, the input is the x value, which represents number of hours. All right, so the domain really means the input values that are allowed or that make sense. So if we're talking about the number of hours that Costello works, then he's always going to work 0 hours or more, and there's a limit to how many hours you can work in a week. A typical 40-hour work week is probably 40 hours a week. So once I worked 2 full-time jobs for a couple of weeks, that was 80 hours a week. You're really not going to work much more than that. So a domain that makes sense, x values or hours you can work that makes sense would be you work no hours to something up to maybe about as big as 80 hours. But anything would have been good here. 40, 50, 60 is the most hours most people ever work in a week. All right, so where does that leave us for the range? Well, the range means the output. Well, the range means the output. In this case, the output is the y value, which represents how much money you earned. So what are all the possible values for how much money you earned that makes sense in this problem? Well, if you didn't work at all, that is, if your input starts at 0 hours for the week, then you made $0. So y, which is again the amount of money you made, has to be greater than or equal to $0 and less than or equal to, well, what's a reasonable amount that makes sense? That's the maximum amount of y, the maximum amount of money that you can make. Let's say you worked 40 hours, or let's say you worked 80 hours, 2 full-time jobs in a day. Then if x was 80, then the amount of money you made would be 20 times 80 plus 800, which is 1,600 plus 800, which is 2,400, and that's dollars. So the domain, our x values between 0 and 80 hours, and the range is between 0 and $2,400.